Hello and welcome back. So we're going to continue where we left off, which is that we had finished this little box and we are now ready to put the electronics inside. I've done one thing off camera, and that is that I've put the jacks in. One black in the middle for the power, and then I've put input jacks for the cables, the one that goes from the guitar and the one that goes to the amp. So all we need to do is solder some cables to the jacks and pop the pots. Pop the pots. Stupid. Anyway, pop the pops through to the other side, and then we can basically just start playing this. It's very basic. We will also need to make a back plate so that dust and stuff like that can't come through, but that will also be super simple, and I'll show you how I do that. And we're gonna use clear acrylic for that instead of wood, because sometimes that becomes annoying. So let's just get to it, should we? Yeah, I think so. The first thing we have to do is we have to just take these two wires that goes from the input jack and put them on the new input jack. And the way we do that is we take the soldering iron. I hope you can't really see what I'm doing. And we warm up the joint, and then we just move it over here. It's a tiny bit fiddly. It's not that bad, but it's a little bit fiddly. And we just attach it. And then we do the same thing with the other one. So we just warm it up so that it loosens up, and then we move it over to the next. And we warm that up, and that makes the solder melt, and then we can just attach them, and they stick. And now we don't need this jack anymore. And now we just need to do the same thing with the other jack. And the way you know the new output jacks have one longer leg and one shorter leg, and the shorter leg is the lead and the longer one is the ground, and that's the way it is on all of these kinds of jacks. So even if you buy a different model of jack than I do, you're gonna have the same outline of how they look as I do. And so the next is just heat up and remove the lead wire, which is this blue one. I hope you can see it. And then attach that. And then the last ground wire too. And I'm just, because I feel like I have a little bit too little solder, I'm just gonna add some more, and that's called tinning the wires. Which is something you should always do. You should always tin all parts before you start soldering, because it makes it easier to attach things to each other. So I'm just gonna add this one in here, just like we did in the first video. And if you haven't watched the first video, there are two versions of it. One for people who just wanna learn about the kit and not cares that much about the solder, and it's the shorter version. And then there's a long version for the people who want to see me actually build the entire kit. So you can just go to my page up here on YouTube, and you can just watch it and learn more about this kit if you are interested in it. Now we are obviously going to sound test this in a bit once everything is put together. So if you like it and you think it sounds nice, I recommend you buy one. So there's that. Now the next part we need to fix is all these wires that needs to go to this output jack, but it feels a little bit fiddly right now, so I think I'm actually going to go ahead and attach these to make it a little bit easier. Now I know that plastic ring is supposed to be there, but to make this look a little bit more like the actual KLON, I am going to remove it because the original KLON doesn't have those jacks. And since it's been several weeks since we made this, and it's been lacquered, apparently, for some reason that I don't know, moisture has made this plug just a little bit bigger. So we drill it out so we don't have to force things through, because if we force things through, something might break. And then we can just put this through nice and easy, like that. And we can then add some washers to the other side. And we'll just finger tighten them for now, and then we'll add everything else. So let's just continue and see what happens. This is a little bit fiddly. You have to be patient so you don't go mad and break things. So let's see now. That one goes in there and comes in under here, and then comes up. It's hard to do while filming, but there it is. And then we just put the washer and the nut back on, and we can tighten it down. And I'm just going to finger tighten it right now, but I'm going to go back and finger fix everything in a second. There we go. Snapped into place. And now I can just put the washer and the nut on, and then we just put the last one in, and we tighten the washers on that one as well. Now I'm going to take and add a wire. So I'm cutting some, I'm stripping some wire, and what that means is you just cut off the protective plastic, and then I'm gonna tin the wire, and as you know, tinning the wire just means adding solder to it before you attach it to anything, so that there is already solder on it. And then I'm just going to heat up this part to break this connection, like that. And then I'm going to add some new solder to these places, just so things flow together a little bit better. And then I'm just going to add this wire. And it sometimes is called jumper cable when you're doing something like this, because basically all you're doing is putting in a little cable to make something longer. So something like that. So now we just need to figure out where to put things. And I'm actually going to do this again. This is maybe not exactly how you would like to do stuff. You would probably want to switch one cable out for a completely new one, and I might go back and do that. But for the moment I just feel like this blue one right here is very tense, and I want to make it a little bit looser. Now I'm just adding in this orange cable. I'm just going to add some new solder to make things flow a little bit better. And then I'm just gonna attach these two together. Something like that. And that shouldn't mean anything. And now we're just gonna add some electrical tape. And we just cut a piece. And we cover up this joint right here. And that's doesn't have to be very neat or anything. I'm just doing it like this. And it's just because I don't want it touching anything else. And we can pull this LED wires under everything, and we can put it through. At least I hope we can. See if we can use a stick or something to poke it with. See. We just poke it into that hole. It's a little bit tight, but it works fine, I think. Yeah, it's going in there. Yeah, something like that. Looks okay to me, for now at least. Might have to go back and take a closer look at that later. I don't know. Okay, so the next part we have to do, and I don't know how I'm gonna show this. We're gonna add some to these connections. We're gonna ignore this one because we don't need it, but we're gonna add solder to the other two, and we're gonna connect the wires, and then the wiring for this pedal is basically done. Or not basically, it is done. We don't have to. Now, if you make one of these pedals, you're not gonna have this kind of problem with wires that I'm gonna have, because you're probably gonna use a enclosure that is made of metal, which is what they tell you to use. But since I'm making one out of wood, I can't ground everything to the enclosure. I have to ground everything back to itself. So that's why everything looks so weird. It's not because I'm crazy. I promise you, it's not because I'm crazy. So I'm just heating up these connections that I hope you can see, and then I take these two wires and I connect them to each other by melting them, and then I take this little jumper cable and I connect it to that as well. And this is super fiddly, so you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing because my hands are in the way. And I'm sorry for that, but I don't know how to film something like this while I'm doing it. So you're just gonna have to trust me that it's fiddly and that I'm not just being lazy, even if I am lazy. And then I'm basically just I'm doing the same here. I'm taking the jack and I'm heating up all these wires. So now I just need to attach these wires to the output jack, and you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing, but that's what I'm doing. It's not that hard to do. You guys probably, if you know how to solder, you will be able to do this, and if you don't know how to solder, you know how to solder. It's so easy to do that even if you've never soldered before, you know how to solder, because everyone knows how to solder because it's so easy to solder. Yes, and maybe that didn't make sense to you, but trust me, even if you've never soldered before, you're probably an expert. So now we have all these wires here, and we just have to put some electrical tape on some things because we don't want things touching. If you look right here, you can see that things are touching, so we're just gonna isolate things away from each other by putting some electrical tape over the connections. And it's super simple to do. You just take some electrical tape and wrap it around, something like that. And then we take another piece and wrap it around this. And by doing that, something like that, they are not connected. I'm gonna take some electrical tape and just cut into tiny little pieces and put over the two control pots, because if you see here, they are, the back is just bare metal and something could shorten towards that if something touched. So I'm just putting a piece like this and that should be it. And now all we have to do is make a back plate. Okay, so now I've cut out a piece of acrylic and I'm just gonna put it over here, hold it in place where I think it should go. Something like that. And I'm just gonna take a pen and mark out where I need to cut to make this fit. Now I'm not gonna bother trying to make this perfect because I feel like it doesn't need to be. I'm just gonna make something that is easy to remove for when the pedal needs maintenance, and I'm also gonna make something that is protects it from dust and other problems like that. So yeah, and we're not going for making a guitar cavity control thing. We're just doing this. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you how I shape this out. So I'm just going to start the sander and then I'm going to shape the acrylic on the sander down to the lines that I've drawn. The camera isn't taking up the glass, but I hope you can see that I'm holding in it. Okay, so we're almost there. It doesn't really fit if you look closely. Maybe you can see it. So I need to just go back and forth between the sander and just shape it and fix it, and then eventually it will just drop in. So that's what I'm gonna do, and once I've done that, we're gonna test the knobs and then we can just go for a sound demo, which I think sounds awesome to do. So let's do that. So now it just drops in, fits perfectly. I'm just gonna drill a hole there and there, I think, or something like that, so that it doesn't fall off if something happens. And then we're done with this. I know some of you are probably like, that doesn't look very nice, but I think I'm gonna cover this whole back with felt, so you won't see it anyway. So making it out of plexiglass is just the most easy. Okay, so now it is in place. I hope you can see. So now we can just add these knobs, and all we have to do is we have to put them on. We screw the controls back to their max, and then we just put them on. We take a little screwdriver, we tighten them so that they are in place. Take the next one, we hold them up to the other one to make sure that the alignment is the same, somewhat the same. Someone like that, and then the last one. And there we have the pedal. It's all done. Except for the fact that I have to put felt on the back, but I don't have any right now, and I really wanted to get this over and done, so that I feel like it's already been too long since part 2 came out. So yeah, we're gonna go now and we're gonna try this out and see what it sounds like. But first I want to say, you know, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these videos that I make. Let me know if you do. You can press like if you want to, you don't have to. And you can write a comment, you know, saying what you think. If you think that this, I mean, I know this is definitely not, it doesn't look like a copy of an original clone, but do you think it looks cool or not? Let me know what you think. And also, like, let me know, like, if there are any questions you have about what I made, or if you think it's, if anything is confusing, you know. But other than that, you know, Christmas is coming up, so Merry Christmas. I hope you're all having an awesome time in the holidays now, and that you're taking care of each other's and your families, and that you're trying to be productive, make something cool and awesome and have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next year. Okay? Awesome. Bye bye!
Thank you.